I have no idea how to respond to that. You didn't introduce me. Like, everything's just been thrown out the window.
Earlier today.
Whatever.
Everyone knows who you are, Jake. You're the most handsome guy here.
Oh,
now you're blushing and our producer's angry at me. This is great. We are into picks and bans for game 2 between Abyss as well as Tainted Minds. And Italy being banned out nice and early here by Abyss.
Yeah, it certainly is. So not wanting to give Fesh a hard farming carry jungler potentially. You can see that Pabu actually very vocal on the mic. I mean, give the man any airtime and he's waving his hands like a hooligan. Calm down.
Meanwhile, we have Camille being taken away by Abyss. Pac-Man picked that one up last game, but it seems like Tainted Minds very comfortable to play into that pick now.
That was certainly the trap card. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh would have been proud. It was certainly activated, and it did not go all that well up in the top lane. I mean, no one wants to end up nearly 200 CS down and be 3.5 items versus a 6 item Renekton. I mean, that's just scary to have to deal with, so I don't blame them. Go back towards a more standard top lane matchup.
Ryza LeBlanc being banned up from the side of Tainted Minds. They don't want Frey to get his hands on that champion again. Rengar being taken away by Abyss on the red side of the map.
So many priority champions being banned away from Abyss. Obviously not respecting these niche pocket picks all that much, but really trying to force Tainted Minds away from the strong meta picks and back onto them. Maybe they like the chaos.
Which means we're going to have a lot of champions left over for the first pick rotation. Kha'Zix, Varus come to mind here as Jace was the final ban coming out from Tainted Minds. Despite his nerfs, still a very popular first pick. And that means Seb will be able to get his hands on Kha'Zix.
And that's the right choice. I mean, we already saw Grisha pick up the Varus. Didn't work out well at all. It was going into a lot of good team fights. He had stayed in lane for way too long. I mean, his turret fell down very early in that game, so...
Time with this one, already throwing one out towards Pabu.
Do they get rid of the Alawi? It's actually Aurelia.
Hello.
Pabu absorbing the bans. I guess 3 for him, 2 for Fesh. Abyss did say, Raid on camera before game 1, that they were going to focus all their bans towards that top lane duo.
Tainted Minds do have the last pick here. So there's potential for Praetor's champion to be shown here and giving Pabu the last pick. They will take Echo. Should be a mid lane Echo.
But I like that because actually Pabu plays top lane AP Echo with Dash Cannon into the old Lichbane. And I know that Praetor plays top lane AP Echo as well, which is the exact same play style as mid lane AP Echo. I mean, you win out your lane, then you go to a side lane, you just continue to farm up, split push till the end of the earth. So both these champions play Echo in a very similar way. And now depending on what matchup they can get will depend on where they take it in the match. For example, Echo's actually very good into Corki. His wave clear just means that Corki never trades with him.
It also means Abyss have to show their hand for both mid lane and top lane. Corki, the first one to be picked up. Hovering over the Maokai here, which should be a very stock standard pick with Shen being banned out. That does give Tainted Minds the opportunity to run Echo into the mid lane or potentially flex it for Pabu, hiding their last pick here to try and throw a spanner in the works here.
And we'll see if... Ooh, that is a spanner.
And they've thrown it. Swain's going to be being put into the top lane.
I mean, this is the first week I feel like I haven't talked about it. The fact that Pac-Man isn't just a pure tank player, that he plays mages in the top lane. Historically known very well for his Swain. Also had a pretty good rise as well when that was running around. And Lysandra, things like that. So good initiating top laners. Swain, no different. Should be able to bully out any melee quite hard. And it would be interesting to see if the Crocodile is taken into it.
Again, like you mentioned, Pabu very vocal on the comms here. We'll be taking the Renekton into the top lane. We'll get Praetor on the Echo. Very different team comps from these two teams.
I kind of disagree. They still have a 1-3-1 comp. They can still have Renekton going to a side lane. They're going to have Praetor going to the side lane. That is a 1-3-1 comp. On the side of Abyss, that is a very different team comp. I mean, pretty much tankless. Good poke damage coming out of Corki and Jhin. However, you know, it is pretty good at brawling still.
Both these teams love to brawl, as we saw from last game.
I mean, it wouldn't be a Tainted Mind game at the moment if it wasn't nearly a kill a minute. And that man is enjoying the camera way too much.
It reminds me of you, Spawn.
What? Never tell... Can we get that cut from the audio, please? Pabu's going to have a field day with that.
Have you seen Spawn's Snapchat?
I have. It's my Snapchat.
You love the camera. But now that we're about to get on to Summoner's Rift for Game 2 between Abyss and Tainted Minds.
If it wasn't your birthday, mate, I would have... I'd have some very choice words for you.
Well, as you two soak up the cameras, I will soak up the fact that I can abuse the fact that it's my birthday. We are going to get onto Summoner's Rift.
I hope we get onto Summoner's Rift eventually. I mean,
eventually, before someone knocks me out while we're still
I would never do that. I'm going to wreck your Singaporean model career. So, yeah, as I said, you know, big 1-3-1 comp coming out of Tainted Minds. I expect them to play the exact same way. Separate the map, look to knock down turrets early. However, I'm excited to see how this Swain works out, because Swain, if you get ahead, is oppressive fish. If you fall behind, you're like to what I call be useless. Absolute dead weight. He just does no damage when he's not ahead. So be interesting to see if like Pac-Man falls behind another 160 CS, how this game works out.
Well, he's into the Renekton again. Pabu did well on that champion in the first game against Camille. Picked up a solo kill there. And see if he can do the same thing in game number 2. As we get onto the Rift, though, let's throw this over towards Hingers, who's sitting with Sipeknife.
Thanks, guys. I'm joined now by team coach of Abyss, Sipeknife. Thank you for joining us. And I want to start by asking, big, hard-fought victory in Game 1. What was the message in the team room coming into Game 2?
Make sure we don't get dragged down to solo queue because, well, it becomes a 50-50 and we don't really want to play a 50-50. We want more 70-30 in our favour would be nice.
So is the Swain pick part of that then, do you think?
Yeah. Pac's a really good Swain player. And so what we want to do is just let him get rolling, and then we can either choose a team fight later or we can choose a split, so we've got choices.
So theory crafters, how does Swain play into Renekton then?
Renekton should win early, so as long as we don't lose out too hard and let him get as big as he did first game, should be fine.
All right, well, best of luck, and thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
There we go, Abyss. Really no one Tainted Minds to pull them down into solo queue, as they say. Tainted Minds really want to bring them down to that level.
Interesting. We don't want to be brought down to a solo queue level. So what we're going to do is we're going to run 4 damage threats and 1 utility support, which I don't know what your solo queue looks like, Fish, but mine looks very similar to this at the moment.
It looks exactly like this, Spawn.
I mean, we're going to see Yomu's Ghost Blades picked up by nearly everyone on the map, and people are just going to go to town.
Well, we have kicked off this game and nothing too much has happened early. Both junglers started on top side of the map. Kunin actually taking quite a bit of damage from Grisso and Brawler at the start of this game. Not going to matter too much. Going to heal that up nice and easy. But it is Grisha and Brawler who have got the push going early on in the game.
Of course, meditation for these supports is just absolutely bonkers. So even though they fall down, the shields will just keep coming because you can't really run with that mastery at the moment. A little bit ridiculous. So we'll see if it continues to be a heavy trade lane. Of course, Karma has windows where she can trade, and as long as Nami doesn't die, she can keep anyone healed up with that ebb and flow.
Frey already being very respectful towards Creative there. Pabu actually taking a lot of damage over the top lane. Heals up nice and easy. We'll take the slice and dice early. Make sure you get away from the bird.
Yeah, it's actually the aggressive choice when you want to be able to trade heavily, but you could see that he already used it on cooldown, and it's such a long cooldown at this stage of the game for Renekton. Has he swapped skins as well?
He has.
I don't understand when people do that.
He's also come for the longsword and single health potion. If you don't understand why people do that, you should watch Kuden from time to time. He does it every time he has to play a champion twice.
Yeah, no, I know Kuden does it. I just wonder if it, is actually a preference thing. As Fesh actually goes from early counter jungling. Raptors is very potent at the moment because they give so much experience that being able to take them away and be able to grab your own can pretty much guarantee a successful early game. However, the danger is if you ever get caught taking them fish, you generally die because they do so much damage, as Pabu does a lot of damage at this stage of the game.
Bops Pac-Man at the top. He's out of potions though, so is Pac-Man, but he'll heal up a little bit more than what Pabu can. Still poking them nice and early.
How does Pac-Man heal up more than Pabu? Pabu actually has sustained pre-6.
He just popped. Never mind. I'm not
Yep.
gonna.
All right, cool. But Pabu's Q gives him that.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm not. Nah. In the bottom lane, though, Grisha and Brawler still trying to push up against Kuden and Raid. We saw a gank coming up from Fesh there. But
I like that Fesh ganked, and I also liked how they went about that, because what they did is they pretty much guaranteed a push here. What we should see is actually Grisha go back to base after this. I mean, if they just hit the creep wave a little bit more, not get frozen on, and be able to get an early tier, which means that all he has to do is be able to sit back and take some pot shots.
And that's something we talked about during the break. Tegan was very vocal about it as well. The fact that the bottom laner stayed until 80, 90 CS in the game with one item was a big play, a big misplay from the two teams. I mean, 2 teleports were used during that time. Now we will see the early back from Grisha, picks up a tier nice and early, will have all the sustain he needs.
Exactly right, and at the same time, I mean, you're able to reset the wave. You might lose a little bit of CS here and potentially go into something like a Dirk, but it still shouldn't be enough to sway that lane completely against you. Kratos doing what all good TP users will in the mid lane, guaranteeing double ring start as well as a tome. Just means you can no longer be shoved out of lane. With ultimate, with the fact that you've just got all that sustain, there's no way to lose the laning phase anymore.
Frey's picked up Exhaust in this matchup as well. He's down to 1 single corrupting potion, so Preth will be able to force him back at a weird timing. Hopefully he makes the most use out of that teleport. Fesh actually stopping his Raptor can to get into the top lane. Flashes for Cocoon onto Pac-Man. He's going to be taken down solo. Repel comes out, and that should be first blood for Pabu up in the top lane.
Certainly is, and all of a sudden Seb's in some trouble, may have to burn the flash. Actually just hops over the wall.
Gets over the wall and back to safety, but still Fesh stops his Krugs, gets the flash Cocoon, and they get first blood again.
Yeah, exactly right. So willing to move out of his jungle pathing, which is always something I like to see about jungle. The wave was in the perfect position for that gank, so they're able to pick it up. And actually, no Dirk picked up. Raid goes towards his Culligan. He's always doing this in the laning phase at the moment. And it just puts him a little bit behind. I like it on auto-attack champions that push the wave a lot. However, as Jhin, that's not really you. That's more your bouncing grenade. So it doesn't give you all that much sustain as you would like to see. And puts you behind until you get that big influx of gold coming back at 100 CS.
Let's see if it's going to hurt him here on the bottom lane. We can already see the tier being used quite effectively here by Grisha. He constantly throws out those arrows. Pushes Raid and Kuden back in towards their turret.
This is a better laning phase already for everyone on the side of TM. They picked up first blood. Bottom lane is still falling behind about 10 CS, but that's what you expect. Is now Praedyth going in deep.
Yeah, Frey down to less than 200 health
He
there.
has to back away.
That's going to force a awkward back for him. Praetor does not have his teleport back off of cooldown, but does have the ultimate if he needs to get back into lane.
Yeah, and Praetor actually did a cool thing there. I mean, when he was really low on health, he runs around in circles a little bit. That means if you ever get ganked by a Kha'Zix, like he jumps in on top of you, you just hit R and you blow him up instantly. I mean, your damage ultimate has, I think, a 1-to-1 AP ratio or something like that. So I like when mid laners always respect the gank, and you can see that, you know, he's just able to get his clone to catch back up. Nothing worse than when you have just dove underneath their turret for a little bit of cheeky damage, you get ganked, fat finger the ult, and end up right back where you don't want to be.
Well, he's gone back to base and picked up a Hextech Revolver, a big spike for the Echo when he does jump in with his empowered auto attacks.
Yeah, of course, if you haven't watched League of Legends for a while, the Revolver no longer is a sustain item unless you go towards the Gunblade. Instead, it gives you burst damage on the end. So think it, you know, a little bit of a Luden's Echo proc, but only onto one person. And what that just means is when the execute damage of the W, the passive, of course, there, if you're below 50% health, and the E means that Echo hits real hard.
A lot of respect from Fredo. He's gone for the Hex Drinker. He's in the bottom lane. Seb's going to get exhausted as he tries a gank.
But respectful. They burn the heal. They burn the exhaust. No flashes, so they can avoid one more. Fredo actually takes a lot of damage, but dishing it out in return.
Takes the turret hit on top of that.
What?
He's chugging his refillable pots there as Fresh looking for Seb in the jungle. He's going to
Fresh's
spot
bottom
it out.
lane's being pushed in. This is a risky invade still.
They're going for it. Echo now going toe-to-toe against Frey on Corki. Forced to use the ultimate early. So it doesn't lock him down. And will be rebuff taken away by Seb.
And all of a sudden, bottom lane is rotating up, so they have to get out. I like the idea. The execution a little bit sloppy out of Tainted.
Top side of the map, Pabu now going on top of Pac-Man. Dashes away from the Nevergrass, and you can see Pabu happy there on the player cams as he gets another solo kill onto Abyss's top laner.
Throws his hands in the air, has the Hex Drinker, and you can see that Pac-Man just can't do anything. In fact, he's scratching his head, picks himself up an arm guard before he has any kind of mana sustain. This is becoming a nightmare of a laning phase one more time for the Abyss top laner.
And we saw the interview with Sepnav. They just want Pac-Man to do well in the top lane so they have options. But if he's going to keep falling behind like this, they might not have that many options to play with.
But you have to really think that this is Seb's fault, because if you know that the top lane matchup wins this hard, and then Fesh is the first one to gank, kind of inexcusable. If Pac-Man's way to win the game is to push the lane early, which it is as a Swain, then you have to be shadowed by your jungler. Otherwise, you're just a sitting duck for exactly what happened. Double flashes were burnt to take Pac-Man down first time, but afterwards, the recurrent pattern just becomes much easier to execute upon.
Well, we have moved back down into the bottom lane. Raid's still farming rather well on his Jhin here.
Still pushing them in under turret as well, which means that Brawler is in dive range. Grisha is again somehow.
Is he not giving him enough mana regeneration early into this game?
I mean, is he not taking anything on his blues? Generally, you take 1 or 2 on a mana-hungry champion like Varus.
Yeah. Potentially even go 1 or 2 points into the
meditation if you don't want to go defensive tree. I mean, there's lots of ways to stay topped up on mana as Varus, because that's pretty much how you win laning phase. Not having mana means that you just don't take attack speed on him. You can see that they're actually bringing what looks to be a package down there first of the game, and Grisha could be in deep trouble here.
Fesh is waiting in the wing, stops his recall. Let's see if they try to go for anything. Seb is nearby, actually trying to take Dragon by himself.
They've actually pinged that out. He's on his way right now, Fesh.
Bubble's going to come out, locks him down. Brawler now taking so many shots of the Curtical. Can Grisha block the last one? He can't because
Flashed away from him.
Flashes away from the body block. And now Grisha's stuck alone.
Slightly confused by this bottom lane at the moment, Fish. I mean, that means bottom lane turret going to be under fire. Seb in some trouble now. He took some honey fruit where potentially he shouldn't have. However, goes back, cleans up the rest, so maybe he should.
Pretty juicy.
Certainly is.
This, again, looks like they're going to take the first turret of the game, and it's going to be bottom lane again. Seb making his way down.
You can't walk back towards it if you're Grisha. You actually just need to take the recall. Teleport actually coming in from Praetor.
He wants to stop this one, and will be able to successfully do so.
Majority of his health.
Nope,
and then teleports back to mid lane.
Yeah, so teleport and ultimate used to save the turret. Grisha is only now going to head back to base.
All of a sudden, he could potentially be in kill range from Frey, who has his exhaust available. No ultimate going to come out for a hard reset in the fight from Praetor. You can see he's more interested in just farming out the wave. He's up in CS.
That should be his proto belt being picked up now as he heads back to base. to see if he gets boots with it as well.
I mean, credit to Praedyth. He's saved the turret. So as far as that goes, he used a pretty important cooldown in the teleport for it, but he's winning his lane, and he recognized that he needs to be able to prop up his bottom lane. And he did save the turret. So technically, that is a good play.
Sam has made his way into the bottom lane. They have this brush warded out by a control ward, so we'll be able to sneak into it.
But you must know this is a focus. I mean, you have to get a ward right down, and they do. So should be able to scout that one out, because right now there's just a big target painted on bottom lane if you are the Tainted Mind squad, and top lane if you're Abyss. I mean, all they want to do is keep punishing the Swain pick on the side of TM. It's already down 30 CS. And for Abyss, you want to keep punishing Grisha and Brawler, who seem to not be on the same wave at all.
Here goes Seb on top of Grisha, taking a lot of damage. Clinical comes out, locked down by the bubble, but the shots are actually missing coming out from the Jhin. He sidesteps the W on top of that, and Grisha gets out alive.
And all of a sudden, Pac-Man on the opposite side of the map.
Ooh, forced to flash away. Pabu just dices in. Fesh was close by. Now they're going to race for first turret here. It should be Abyss picking it up, but Seb's taking the turret, gets exhausted.
They're going to save it.
Come out. They save the turret, and now Praedyth's coming in as well. They take the turret down in the top lane. Teleport's being used by both top laners to get in amongst the action and cancelled immediately. But first brick for Tainted Mind.
Exactly right. TM are able to pick it up. They race them and they win. And one more time, it's just Praedyth willing to sacrifice his own lane to save bottom. Means that mid lane turret will take a little bit of damage, but they're still pushing on the top side of the map right now. Making sure that that wave resets. Don't want to give anything easy to Pac-Man.
Pabu pushes it in towards the turret. Pac-Man 2 levels down again.
I mean, he's got no help. To be fair, he has played the lane 2v1. Fesh has been up there 3 times, I think, now. He's been willing to burn Flash when he has to be able to pick up kills. So that's a well-executed plan for Tainted Minds. But that is a top laner that has been left out to dry.
But again,
a couple of games.
It's
going to be the 80 carry from the side of Abyss, who gets majority of the early game gold. Already got a single kill, and now has picked up a solo turret goal for himself. Pac-Man's in trouble, no flash available for him. Pabu jumps on top of him, the cocoon comes out, but Fesh taking a lot of turret damage, repels away from the nether grass, and Pabu picks up another kill for himself.
And the 2-on-1 just continues. I mean, they weren't able to rotate over there in time. All of a sudden, Pabu is 3-0-0, and he is an absolute monster again in this game. He's got a black cleaver to what is components of like half Zhonya's and, I don't know, after, you reckon, GLP, or you reckon he's going roller?
I have no idea what he's trying to do right now.
I reckon
I don't know what the cloth armor's doing in there.
I reckon, oh, come on, that's for the boots. I reckon at this stage of the game, you're going GLP. There's no way you're getting in a Rod of Ages anywhere near time for it to stack up.
No, you're certainly not. Mogi's going for the Visage as well, Spirit Visage. And now the Tainted Minds have to try and get a dragon for themselves, and they sent Pabu into the bottom lane. The lane swap coming out between the two teams again, so it should be another turret trade. This time Tainted Minds get the upper hand of that by taking down the dragon.
I would actually say this time Tainted Minds have used a lot of sticky tape, but actually have managed to save their macro play at the start of the game.
Strong. They bought electrical or maybe duct tape to hold that one together.
100%. I mean, they're ahead in this base, like this swap. They're able to, you know, continue to farm up in the mid lane. There's been absolutely no problems for Praedyth there. They managed to grab a dragon against the flow as well. And they've already pushed into a tier 2.
Is Pac-Man, it looked like Pac-Man was in trouble again as they jump on top of him. Ultimate being used by Grisha. He's going to get locked down. Cocoon comes out as well. Pabu gets the Hex Drinker and they take him down. He's gone on a rampage, 4 kills, and they're pushing for an inner turret in the bottom lane. That's going to fall.
And this was actually what Abyss was able to do in game 1. I mean, they were able to get the kill as well as the dragon, as well as the turret. And this time around, unfortunately, they're not playing at the same tempo. They'll be able to grab both turrets still, which is good. It will keep them in the game. But the little advantages are actually going across the Tainted Minds because of the fact that they're up in tempo.
So a single kill for them, as well as the Cloud Dragon being picked up. Frey, meanwhile, in the mid lane, doing well against Praedyth, able to chunk him out. Teleport is available for this Echo, and he hasn't gone back to base for some time. Picks up double salt boots, sells one immediately.
2 boots, 2 feet, makes sense to me.
Goes for the Sheen instead as he makes his way down towards the bottom side of the map now. Split pushes coming out from Tainted Minds with that double teleport team comp.
One thing I will say is that Praedyth has stayed up in CS, and because he's forced Frey into a Hex Drinker first, it's delayed that power spike. Right now you would expect at about 16 minutes a Corki that's farming like Frey to be on completed Trinity Force as well as Sork Boots, and that's when he's really scary. However, with the Hex Drinker, the lays out Power Spike, it's still good at 2 items, but just not as effective right now in the game when he's sitting on components.
Checking with the top side of the map, Pabu's picked up his Black Cleaver. You see
There is 3,000 gold difference between Pac-Man and Pabu at the moment.
Jungler is about 1,000 gold ahead. Mid lane's dead even, and it's a small gold lead for Raid in the bottom lane.
1,600. That's a pretty
lead.
big gold lead. I mean, that's a good news story. You can see that they actually don't want Pac-Man to go toe-to-toe with the Echo at the moment. Forcing that mid lane matchup still just in the bottom lane. Here we go.
Raid is looking to try and force the package to be used here by Frey. Gets it.
Also gets a lot of damage down. That's without a proc. And you can see very comfortable on it.
We're doing a bit of counter jungling. Fesh says, that's mine. Thank you. Good leash.
And dive coming in on the mid lane potentially.
Yep. The W coming out from Kazik, spots him out. Cocoon gonna whiff. Field goal is good there. Now Grisha's in trouble again. They're locking out Brawler as well. Has to flash away from the curtain call. Dodges out majority of the shots to stay alive. They still lose their AD carry.
Great collapse coming out of Frey. Goes over the wall with the Valk, nice and aggressive, knows that the team is split, makes a decisive call on what side they're going to go on, pick up a kill against the Tide, puts them back within 2,000 gold, and now they have pressure on the mid lane turret. That's a proactive play that Abyss need to continually make if they're going to win this game 2-0 and pick up a much-needed 3 points.
Tainted Minds are still 2,000 gold in the lead, but they haven't grown that gold lead despite their small plays they've been making against Abyss. They're still trying to hold on to this game. I mean, we mentioned they struggled to close out games. It was evident in that last match. Now we have to see if they can catch up, being a few thousand gold behind Tainted Minds, and actually try and close it out there. Kratos, though, decides not to go in.
Actually saw Seb there and, maybe thought better of it. Had the ultimate available, potentially could have looked for the all-in, however, didn't want a 2v1.
Again, we have Raid still in this mid lane, just trying to push up against Grisha. Not too worried about the Varus at the moment. Oh, dodge it. Yep. Gets away.
I feel like Grisha needs to just throw more at the creep wave. There's better incentive you can get around the map by just continually pushing into a gym than what there is trying to chunk him out at this stage of the game. Just protect your turret. You're a 1-3-1 team. Keep it from pushing in like this, because if ever it gets underneath your turret, the play is just against you.
Pablo is still split pushing on the top side of the map. Doesn't feel like anyone can deal with this Crocodile at the moment. He's got his TM up, picks up Fesh. Almost gets Seb there. Decides to double back. Is going to whiff.
Now this is where the collapse has to come in. I mean, all of a sudden you see Corki in the bottom lane. You saw that Seb as well as Fesh were... missed him.
Slides right past.
The invisibility was there. Didn't get him with the E, it looked like.
Slides right past him. Seb will be forced to use the ultimate and just try to go back to base. Oh, good job, Pablo.
And this is where they need to be able to pressure mid lane turret, because they don't have great poke apart from the Varus. But what they do have is priority in the side lanes, and you're able to collapse into the mid lane and potentially be able to chunk it out.
Raid is out of mana here in the mid lane. That turret is very low. He's going to be forced to go back to base, but Frey is going to replace him on wave clear duty right now as Corki.
Yeah, already rotated over, so no decisive play coming out of Tainted Minds. So they go back to the side lane, they'll push up again, and continue to try and force this trade around mid lane turret.
Well, as we move back into the top lane, Pablo's still split pushing here, but Pac-Man's gone for a 20-minute Rod of Ages. He just completed that item.
That's a late Rod of Ages. I mean, without boots or anything like that, I was jokingly saying maybe you should look at GLP. Of course, Rod of Ages is much more standard. He expects this game to go late. I mean, I don't have much confidence in either Tainted Minds or Abyss finishing up this game on time either. So you can understand where it comes from. But you're right, that is so incredibly late if you are the Abyss eSports top laner.
Christian, you can see, used 3 arrows there and not even close to a quarter of his mana pool being exhausted. Seems like he's gone for Storm Raider's Surge from his Varus. We saw Raze do this a few times on Varus. You don't see any of the Death Fire touch damage coming out on towards Raze.
That actually means that you can harass under turret better, because you don't ever pull turret aggro when you land the arrows. And in team fights, you can navigate backline threats a little bit more effectively. Actually bulking forward. Here we go.
Oh, ultimate coming out from Kratos does a lot of damage onto both of them. The Time Winder almost taking down Seb. Does have his flash. Seb has his own as well. Puts down the W. making sure to see if he can catch out Frey, but still Raider very aggressive with the ultimate there.
But that's what you need to be able to do as an Echo. I mean, he's forcing side lane pressure. He feels he's in a position to be able to chunk out without dying. Actually uses an ultimate there, does Kuden.
Good job coming out from Kuden. No, but Tainted Mind's now going to try and take advantage of that.
We're off cricket season now, Fish, so you have to go with kicks the goal.
All right.
I mean, conversion maybe. We're in Sydney. I don't know Sydney sports all that well.
I don't know many sports in this
Neither do I. I know AFL because I'm a Melbourne boy.
What's that?
We're going nowhere with this conversation. Abort. Get back on topic.
Well, Raid and Kuden are able to still defend this turret. Seb now going to find Pabu taking away more of his jungle. Smites it away, says thank you very much for the leash. I'll take that one.
I mean, I think the idea is still there, however. He's 70 CS up, 60 actually. Be a little bit kinder to Pac-Man. Definitely ahead in the items as well. Pretty much 3 completed.
Bits and pieces coming out from Pabu. X-Drinker,
Yep.
the Gauntlet as well as the Timber.
Bit of a KFC variety bucket right there. That you do know. I know for a fact because I've seen you destroy a couple.
That's true. Ah, good job, Ray. That should be able to clear out the wave.
Lays down the red carpet. Here we go. Creeps coming across. Nah, too soon.
There's 2 of them. Still will be able to clear out that wave nice and easy, but it's just been a farm fest between these 2 teams for the past few minutes.
And you can see that Pac-Man isn't that far behind that he can't pull the creeps off the turret and not allow Renekton to get some turret shots in there. So he's still able to farm very comfortably. Hopefully the CS, if you're an Abyss fan, stays at about 60 and he scales up because Swain late game with 5 items is a completely different monster to Renekton altogether. I mean, he's going to be able to dictate, get into that back line, although right now he's still in big trouble.
Certainly is, but Swain 06 able to kill up nice and easy. Very difficult to dive him as well. Yeah, unless you have a couple of people up there.
I mean, I think there might even be the potential for Pabu just to go.
Oh, they're jumping into the mid lane. No, Raid is the first target. He gets taken out nice and easy by Tainted Minds. Ultimately popped by Praetor. That breaks the mid lane inner turret. Now they've got all 5 members in this mid lane.
Yeah, and that's smart. I mean, I kept saying it. You go towards a 1-3-1 and then you're... What?
He's jumped in. Pabu looking for Frey. Forces him to flash away as well. Could even see the parallel convergence being thrown out by Praetor, looking to try and catch him out going the other direction.
Yeah, if you have priority in the side lanes, you can just look for a quicker collapse into that mid lane. And that's all they were doing. They kept pressuring. Praetor finally goes over the wall, gets his team a kill. I actually think it was Grisha that picked that one up. And then they just go back, you know, reset the map, going to look towards a dragon or something like that. Actually, they've already just taken it. So really nice, clean play from Tainted Minds. We expect them to just continually go towards 1-3-1 and try and force a big enough gold lead where they can just dive turrets and ignore the rest of the members of Abyss eSports.
And that gold lead is... Oh, good. Dropped the ward in the back of the pit. Doesn't take any of the fruit either after hitting that plant. A little bit rude. That's going to rot and go to waste. But yeah, 4.4 thousand gold lead for Tainted Minds. Slowly growing this one. Pac-Man has picked up his Zhonya's Hourglass, so a big item for him to have in the next few fights.
Yeah, now you can't really dive him unless you bring a jungler with you. Only a Hex Drinker on Pabu's side. When actually with the Swifty Boots to be able to get rid of the Crow as opposed to the Merc Treads to be able to get rid of the Never Move or Nevermore or whatever it's called.
Very similar build from Pabu, except for the Hex Drinker that came out to protect himself from magic damage. Going for lots of health and a bit of damage here and there on his Renekton. Last game he went for the long haul and picked up his Dead Man's Plate into the Spirit Visage later on. I'll have to see if he decides to stick with that or go for the cheap armor and magic resistance to complement the early game.
I would potentially expect an early Spirit Visage to come out at this stage, just because he's against Corki that does a lot of magic damage. In fact, Ryu picked up... Ooh.
Oh,
Flashing in a straight line.
It's not pretty.
Definitely not pretty. Raid able to pick up what looked to be a solo kill.
It almost looked like a flash back into that as well. Yeah, I don't want to see that one again. Meanwhile, the Spider has been spotted out by the Sweeper. Couldn't pop there.
Seb stalking him now. Potentially might go over the wall.
Ward is finally placed by Tainted Minds, so it's Raid still taking away Raptors. Raid's not happy with that. Doesn't lock him down.
And you can see that if they're able to get picked, this is actually where it came from. Actually just W into 1, 2. He slowed himself down. Healed. And you're right, he flashed into it. Yeah, not great to see there, Fish. However, first land game for Grisha. Definitely feeling the pressure.
Someone who doesn't seem like he's feeling any pressure at all is this guy on your screen, Pabu in the top lane.
Approaching another flame horizon.
Yeah. Pac-Man's not having a great time, and this is someone we compliment for being very solid in the top lane.
I mean, I still feel, I'm going to go back to it. I still feel like Pac-Man is solid at the moment. I just feel like Seb has heavily focused the duo lane of Tainted Minds. And even though the bans have gone in Frey and Pac-Man's favor, the actual gameplay on Summoner's Rift has not reflected that game plan at all.
Yep. No disrespect going up to Pac-Man in the top lane. Has been playing well in the past few weeks for Abyss, but Tainted Minds pinpointing that top lane as an avenue of attack in both games so far. Their bottom lane hasn't fallen as behind as we saw last game this time. In fact, Tainted Minds are still 4,000 gold up. They're going to look for their third dragon of the game. They've already got a cloud on an ocean. Mountain is their next dragon.
I really enjoy that interaction. I mean, Dragon's like, this is my spot. Get the heck out of there.
Even knocks the ward away. Doesn't like that.
Ooh, Fesh has actually adapted the build. He's realized that Needlessly Large Rod doesn't build into Rylai's anymore, so instead he's going a dash cannon, it looks like.
Probably about to be picked up by Fesh soon.
Yeah. I think it was Spook. Shout out to the top laner, jungler of the Chiefs. Whoops, just leaked strategies. Jungler of the Chiefs. He actually said giving new definition to needlessly large rod. I like that. That was actually clever.
Pretty good.
So shout outs to Spooks. As we've actually, now that mid lane turret has gone down, the game really has just evolved into no action at all.
Seems like just happy and content with farming it up. Tainted Minds taking vision control over the Baron pit. And Praetor is still split pushing in the bottom lane with his teleport available.
This kind of has to favor the Jin, you feel. If Raid gets to the late game, he's just going to be able to put out so much damage from such extreme range that neither Praetor or Pabu really will be able to get onto him without a good teleport flank. And just given the newness of this Tainted Minds roster, you would doubt whether that coordination is going to come in. So instead, you see some solo plays.
That's a lot of damage onto Pac-Man, and no minions here to heal back up off.
However, someone does have to pick up a Mortal Reminder or a Morale-Nomicon for Pac-Man, because I feel like he is getting to the point where he's just able to sustain up a little bit more than you were comfortable with in the bottom lane.
Tainted Minds are going for this Baron nice and quickly here.
I mean, they burn through it. They've got Leandries, they've got all of the percentage health damage that comes out of Varus, and they're going to be able to pick this one up. 4,000 health. Members are starting to rotate over. Tidal Wave's here.
They're going to try and see what they can do, but they're not going to be able to take it down. Tainted Minds pick up the Baron. Package was picked up by Corky, I believe. He's zooming his way up towards the top side of the map. Not going to be able to do anything. Good move from Tainted Minds. Increase their gold lead and now have a big buff to work around.
Great move from Tainted Minds, because all of a sudden now they have double teleports and 2 winning split push side lanes. All of a sudden, Praetor is being collapsed onto, however.
No Cozy Call available for the gym, but everyone from Abyss is slowly trying to collapse on towards the Time Waiter. Can he get away? Pops the ultimate nice and early. Doesn't get any health out of that one. Now jumping over the walls, just trying to run him astray. That Raid's still going to be able to pick up the kill.
That's great news for TM. Shouldn't have started that red buff, Praetor, because all of a sudden one of the ones in the 1-3-1 isn't going to have it available, so the side lane pressure not going to be the same on Praetor's side of the map. And you also buy a free 40 seconds whilst he isn't available, maybe a little bit more as he has to run out. So really nice catch, delays the game. Pabu's still going to look to pick up a tier 2 turret for his troubles.
He's got a Sterix Gauge picked up, Pabu. He's nice and tanky.
Makes absolutely no sense. Because, of course, Lifeline is a shared passive between Hexdrinker and Sterix.
That's right.
So as far as fumbles in the item build, Fesh had one in game 1, Pabu has one in game 2.
I used to love picking up both of them. Sad he can't do that anymore.
Because as an 80 carry, you're a tank.
Yep.
That's why we got rid of it.
Hey, I enjoyed not dying in 2 seconds.
Unique.
You've had this experience with Nocturnes recently.
Yeah, unique decision making coming out of top laner of Tainted Minds. However, 6,000 gold in the lead. I mean, he is pretty much 90 CS and 4 kills up.
This time Grisha gets his Knight's Vow. Oh, sorry, Edge of the Night.
Why does he keep slowing himself while the ults are coming at him? That I don't understand, Fish.
It's Tainted. Tainted Minds, Spawn.
He's perplexing me a little bit. But Siege will continue. 1-3-1 now set up. Pabu, of course, with the Baron buff. Praetor without. And they're going to look to push in. And really, short of wave clearing, there's not all that much that Abyss can do at this stage.
Very different game 2 coming out from Tainted Minds here. Similar story. Top lane goes ahead, bottom lane falls behind, but not as behind as we saw last match. See one arrow there on the
Need to walk up and hit the turret, guys.
Okay, tries to put an arrow through the turret. That doesn't work that way, but still will eventually walk up and get a bit of damage down to it and take it down for Tainted Minds. Predators in the bottom lane believe that in the turret's already gone, so only the base left.
Exactly right, and all of a sudden it becomes a little bit harder because Corki, Swain, the two primary forms of wave clear, going to be able to rotate between the lanes a little bit quicker. Predator actually wants in.
He's got Lichbane. These turrets take so much damage when he jumps in and gets that big shield, slowly whittling away.
I mean, he still took a lot of damage in response. You can't do that too many times. And you can see Pabu now starting to lose out on the 1v1.
Yep. Pac-Man very confident, going toe-to-toe against the Crocodile now, but Pac-Man still a level behind. Pabu almost level 18.
But no mortal reminder picked up from any parties. Level 16 Pac-Man now is probably going to be able to sit in team fights for a very long time. Has that Zhonya's available. There's not really all that many ways to deal with him.
I mean, the only way I can see is Grisha's E. Hope he's able to get that down onto him in the team fights. But Tidal Wave actually coming out there, sidestepped by Tainted Minds.
Looking for the engage, not happy being starved out on this Baron buff.
Pac-Man's item purchase has finally paid off as he hits 10 stacks.
Looks like the Baron buff has expired. And that's a visual bug in client only. On, I think it was Fesh.
Yep. Praetor doesn't have his anymore. Pops the ultimate there, gets exhausted by Frey and gets taken down. A near solo kill coming out from him with the assistance of Kuden.
However, at the same time, they time it so well that TM actually have no options in the mid lane. Grisha goes back into his Q.
This time flashes away from the ultimate.
Flashes and heals again, however. So a lot of the team fighting pressure gone right now from Abyss. They're still 7,000 gold behind, but win a couple of skirmishes across map. And it looks like short of split pushing, Tainted Minds don't have a real game plan. Split push forever.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, right? Something's got to give.
I mean, or you just lose the game because their team fight becomes better than yours.
Well, let's see which one's going to come first here. This doesn't seem like Tainted Minds are going to give up their ways anytime soon. Dragon's back up and available, but just a Cloud Dragon, final elemental dragon of the game.
You would expect TM to want to take that as soon as possible.
Yep.
You would expect Abyss to go nowhere near it because it's only a cloud, and if they pick it up, they just increase the rate at which that Elder Dragon is going to spawn. So not really a good decision to be able to pick that one up.
Instead of leaving it for now, potentially trying to synchronize it with the spawn of Baron.
Yeah, could be the case. Or they just haven't thought about picking it up. Of course, not many games together so far.
Frey's picked up the package here and has gone for his red buff. We can take a look at the gold that's been picked up by these two teams. Everywhere seems like it's going in favor of Tainted Minds, except for the bottom lane, where Raid still has 1,500 gold lead.
I mean, mid lane's catching up as well. That's only 500. Really, it is the Pabu and Fesh duo that hold majority of this advantage, and they're going to be collapsed on.
Package going to the top lane. Pabu does have Guardian Angel available. Frey weaving in these auto attacks nice and easy. Ultimate being popped. Pabu tries to jump in, gets on top of Frey, does have GA. Here comes Fresh, looking to try and help them out. Teleport coming up as well. Pabu respawns, and Tainted Minds still want to go for this fight. But look at the mid lane and bottom lane. We actually have Grisha as well as Praetor split pushing, looking to try and take down these turrets. Can they cancel the recalls?
Yeah, so decisive play coming out of the Abyss eSports lineup. All the recalls cancelled.
Pabu's going to get taken down here. Fesh tries to fight back and go 1-for-1, but he can't. He gets taken down as well. Will they get turrets for this? Teleport being used by Pac-Man onto the turret. That one will still fall. Praetor is going to go right behind that to take it down. So 2 inhibitor turrets taken for 2 kills.
Yeah, but what else do they get? Praetor actually in danger right now.
Zhonya's hourglass being used there by Praetor. Now he's got to try and get the heck out of there. Grisha is the sacrificial lamb, though. He just gets caught trying to save Pac-Man's life. And suddenly everyone Tainted Minds is dead.
Everyone's dead. And all of a sudden, Baron's going to spawn in 15 seconds. There's not going to be enough time for Tainted Minds to collapse there. And that is a huge swing. Sure, they open up the base in 2 areas, but Abyss finally with a sniff in this one. And it was just all through a good collapse, taking down Pabu, able to grab Fesh as well. And because Praetor didn't complete that teleport to be able to break open the base, Baron's gone.
Yeah, this might be the breather that Abyss desperately need here. Baron down to 4,000 health, no one close by. Praetor's trying to do everything he possibly can. He's not going to get there in time. That will be taken down It's now 6,000 gold lead for Tainted Minds, but with Baron, Abyss can start this game and slowly get the breathing room they desperately need.
And let's take stock of the map, because right now we can see that Raid is a monster. He's up 60 CS. He's 4-1-2. At the same time, 4-0-2 for the 80 carry. They're ahead. As far as team fights go, when you have 2 80 carries and only really a melee absorb in Pabu, no real tank, team fights become real difficult. And now as they're pushing up with double cannons, they're going to rip through structures. And what do Tainted Minds do? Do they fight? I mean, there's not really all that many choices available to them.
Well, second turret in the mid lane is going to fall. Abyss closed the gold gap to about 4,000 gold.
Teleport's coming out.
Actually looking for the flank here. Praetov's in the back lines. Pabu looking to try and get there as well. Abyss trying to get back in towards the mid lane, and they successfully get out of range of Tainted Minds. Tainted Minds didn't take the Dragon earlier, so it's still Cloud Dragon sitting there. They can't pressure that objective either.
And it's been there for 5 minutes. I mean, they haven't been able to pick that one up. They can go towards it now, but that means that they're looking at like a 43-ish minute Elder Drake spawn. That's very late into the game. The base has been open, but without inhibitors being taken, pretty much a gold lead's been evened out.
Yep.
4,000. And Pac-Man, you know, we said 20 minutes on that rower. Well and truly past fully stacked, so he's back online.
Spirit Visage and Zhonya's Hourglass picked up for him as well. Those are the 3 core items for a swing.
I mean, look for a Void Staff to come out next, maybe a Leandry's instead, but he's done.
And it's exactly what he wants to go towards. His Haunted Guys is picked up. Meanwhile, you can see Seb's going for his more Malmortius. And wants to survive the burst damage coming out from Elise as well as the Echo, who's now in the top lane. Teleport is available for Praetor now. Pabu's is still down.
And Praetor takes turrets way quicker than Pabu, so it makes sense to put him in the lane with the only turret remaining. Problem is, I don't think he can 1v1 Frey any longer. And without any healing reduction, probably going to be in favor of Pac-Man as well.
Pac-Man looking to try and chase down Pabu, who's going to run into a Kha'Zix. Tidal Waves coming out from downtown as well, but he wants Raid, goes on top of him, going to get the QSS nice and early. Pabu gets locked down and taken down by Abyss.
Exactly right, but because of the way that the waves are set up and how overextended Pabu is, there is no response out of Tainted Minds. That's a great catch. You can see that Pabu's starting to get frustrated. Runs his hand through his hair, but what else can you really do? I mean, Abyss are just out macroing Tainted Minds right now.
They certainly are. Abyss is slowly pushing down the bottom lane. Everyone else from Tainted Minds is going to recall. 39 seconds. Pabu until he's back up and online, but teleport is down for the Renekton. Not jumping these team fights anytime soon. We still have Praetor split pushing. Does have his own teleport available.
Empowered recalls, however, means that they're going to be back in time. I mean, there's not really all that much for the young mid laner to do. 3,000 gold is all that stands between these two teams. And Abyss eSports so desperately want that first 3 points of the season.
And I mean, 3,000 gold, nothing at the moment. 40 minutes into the game, not going to matter that much. Tainted Minds is going to have to try and use every single advantage they possibly can to try and close out the game. I mean, Abyss are 10-5 in kills, Spawn. Doesn't look like Abyss are 10-5 in kills right now.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, they're just being able to battle their way back in. It's only those really 2 turrets, as you keep mentioning, that are separating the teams. A lot of CS, still 75. I mean, Pabu's still having a beast of a game, but with Renekton, the difficulty is, how do you team fight? If anyone ever catches up to you, how do you beat them in the split push, and what is your role at this
They might catch Frey, though. He's locked him down. Fesh is up here as well, but he's in spider form. Not able to get the cocoon off. QSS used by Frey as well as the package to get out of that one. Grisha gonna have to sidestep some of these. Edge of Night blocks out the 3rd bullet, but the 4th is gonna be dodged. A lot better this time around for the Varus.
Exactly right. Good coordination out of Grisha as well as Brawler. They get him the speed up, and now Praetor sitting in the bottom lane can potentially look to just target that inhibitor. I mean, he's still waiting for the creep wave. You can probably just run past and continue to put pressure down.
Frey's going to go back to base. Doesn't have teleport available, so Abyss are stuck with 4 members for
They've got
now.
2 good teleport wards, and the teleport is available out of Praetor. As soon as they see Frey in the bottom side of the map, they can potentially look for a collapse.
But no major objectives for the 2 teams to fight over in the center of the map right now.
We're back into the super late game. The way that the team fights will work, I mean, QSS is everywhere, no lockdown damage. Pac-Man, pretty much can't be dealt with. I mean, there's no healing reduction. He's just going to run rampant, probably going to be the last person alive. At the same time, Praedyth can one-shot pretty much anyone else on the Abyss eSports lineup, including Raid, who's caught napping.
Oh no, Raid gets stuck here. You can see the items being used by Kuda trying to keep him alive. Pops the ultimate back to full health, but Abyss collapsed on towards the Echo. Zonya's being used, gets into the Parallel Convergence. Now he's on top of Frey, but it's just a lonely Echo who gets taken down.
Yeah, so they go for the play onto Frey. Raid, he actually doesn't even use his flash. Praedyth threw everything he had in there and wasn't able to make it work. All of a sudden, they're going to march it back up mid lane, and Grisha's caught.
He's going to try and hop over the wall. Seb follows through. He flashes himself, gets back to safety. So flash for flash there. Grisha is able to stay alive and, importantly, keep his Guardian Angel up.
Pabu grabs a mid lane creep wave. Looks like he headed that one off, so able to keep them without any real way into the base. Still looking for a flank.
29 seconds is what Tainted Minds are waiting on. Ray trying to go back to base here. Arrows coming up from Grisha's going to stop that. Baron's back up in 50 seconds, and Elder Dragon spawns 20 seconds behind that. You can already see a big wave pushing into the top side of map for Tainted Minds, but they know now that this goal lead is not as good as they had earlier on, playing a lot safer.
Non-existent. I mean, there's absolutely nothing between the two teams right now. Everyone's getting towards 6 items. You see GAs. It's really only top lane for Abyss, and then like junglers and supports still looking for more. Everyone else in this game is done. And you would have to say that unless they can get onto Frey or Raid and delete them from the map, the damage is just so much greater. And Pac-Man's going to be able to split up the team fight so effectively.
Yep, Frey's got his Merc Scimitar, so that puts him at 6 items. Praedyth as well as Grisha and Raid all have their 6, so support's still sitting on a couple. We have the top laner for Abyss. Pac-Man still an item behind Pabu, and Jungler's half an item away. Abyss now, they've started up Baron. They want this. Teleport available for Praedyth, but let's see if he's going to be able to get in there. Now. There goes Pabu looking to see if he can get into the back line. Teleport being used nice and early. Grisha pops the ultimate, gets all 5 of them stuck in the tether, but Abyss trying to turn this one back around. Repel comes out from Elise trying to go back down.
Bottom lane. I mean, this is now just fighting off the recalls one more time and trying to allow Praedyth to be able to have access to the base. If anyone dies on TM's lineup, that's Baron gone.
And the recall actually not going to come out. You can see Swain walking into the bottom lane. Needs to go toe-to-toe against this Echo. And Tainted Minds getting an inhibitor for their troubles and now just dance around the Baron, not even looking to start this one just yet.
But they can't start it because all of a sudden Pac-Man still has the teleport and Praedyth doesn't. So if any collapse comes in, that's a big one.
That's going to deal a lot of damage. You can see ultimate being used by Pabu, but Raid's a little bit too fast. We'll be able to get away. Teleport already being used. Redemption comes out to heal up Tainted Minds. They don't want to fight just yet.
Praedyth is in mid lane again.
What? He's got teleport available still. Abyss, they throw the Hail Mary. They want the Baron. They've got to try and do something. Teleport not available for Praedyth. He's going to try and take them down. Ultimate back up for Varus. Here comes the fight. Fashes in, steals the Baron. Now Abyss have to run for the heals as Tainted Minds. They've got 2 inhibitors. They got the Baron and they've got the flanking Echo.
They certainly do. And Seb actually left over the wall, not in vision, so will be able to live. It is a 1-for-1 trade, but Fesh swoops in, picks up the Baron buff, 2 inhibitors down, Elder Dragon available, Tainted Minds get the play they're looking for.
Yeah, the birthday boy couldn't pick up the Elder Dragon last game, but this time gets the Baron, and there's only 1 inhibitor turret left and 1 inhibitor. Praedyth fakes out the teleport from Pac-Man and is able to stay in the bottom lane. Tainted might still have a teleport of their own. Pabu has his, and Elder Dragon's up. They could double up on these major buffs.
I mean, they could, but at the same time, your jungle is dead for 20 seconds. You probably don't want to go anywhere near it right now. Definitely do not want to give that one over to Abyss. You have 4 dragons available. Seb wants in.
Big one. Sorry, package being used there by Frey, trying to get in the back lines. Grisha's getting locked down. Does have Guardian Angel available, staying alive. Toe-to-toe against Seb. 1 auto attack, and he would fall. Pabu forces Frey to flash away. They will take down the 80 carry. And Abyss slowed down the pushes coming out from Tainted Minds.
But at the same time, you saw how tanky Pabu is at the moment. Frey wasn't actually able to do any damage to him because he hasn't got any penetration items. And with 2... Who flashed it?
Pac-Man.
All right.
Getting away from the tethers of Brawler.
Yep. At the same time, with double super creeps pushing into the base, Elder Drake's still going to be available, and you have to deal with Praedyth in the bottom lane.
They only just spot that out. They got the last pick off of the back of the package. Elder Dragon is going to be taken down here. Tainted Minds get that. Misclick.
All right.
They get it.
Everyone's fine. It's all good.
It's something with smiting Elder Dragon, Profesh. Not good.
However, 2 waves of Super Creep. All of a sudden, Baron buff as well as Elder Dragon available for slightly longer. Kratos might have been caught out again. Does actually manage to get away this time. All they need to do is sit top lane with Elder Dragon and poke in on the enemy team.
Teleport available still for Kratos. He's picked up a Rabadon's death cap for himself. That echo is massive. Don't think there's any item he needs to change anymore. So we'll be just picking up elixirs and slowly pushing out respective lanes. He's now in the bottom lane trying to work with these super minions, which Raid is trying to hold up.
Important to know, Pabu has gone with a very late Randuin, swapped out the Hex Drinker for it.
Yep.
That's good because at this stage of the game, Raid's 4th shot would be doing a lot of crit damage, so being able to get rid of that, always worthwhile. And set.
You don't want to fight there, buddy. Praetor pops the ultimate, though. Doesn't get back in range, but he's still on the
flash.
Flashes forward, gets the connection before the flash comes out of Seb, takes him down.
Yeah, really nice play out of the assassin mid laner Praetor. Able to pick up the winning kill, and now all of a sudden 5v4, 2 waves of Super Creep. This is a Hail Mary.
Oh, Grisha's seen this one happen before. He's going to get knocked down by these shots, and Raid takes him down. Oh my goodness, he has to stop taking these punches.
Someone has to go to the Nexus. I mean, Praetor's taken down 1. He's got Baron buffed creeps on the 2nd. Huge creep wave coming in. It is still a 4v4.
Ooh. Top of this turret, Pabu's going to take quite a bit of damage. Dices away. Now Fesh taking quite a bit in return as Pac-Man goes into the back lines. Pabu trying to hold him up. He will get locked down by 2 snares. He's still going to get away.
Yeah, Praetor is just on the Nexus.
He's going to end the game here. Praetor's looking for the finish. Tainted Minds take down another inhibitor. That's a full health Echo again. He's dashing in, but does get locked down. That Nexus is almost gone. Here goes Pabu, jumping in, slices and dices in. One last auto attack comes through, and Tainted Minds tie up the series 1-1.
So really nice play in the end out of Tainted Minds. Are able to get that 1-3-1 to work. They were very persistent with it. They got the Baron finally. They got the Elder Drake. You can see that it's hard work at the moment. 2 45-minute games, but it's at 1-1.
It certainly is. And Abyss now not going to be able to pick up 3 points today, even if they get the win, but they still want to pick up their first win here in the OPL. The new roster of Tainted Minds not doing that bad in their second match.
Yeah, they look fantastic. And if I'm Abyss, I'm looking towards top lane because someone needs to be able to shut down Pabu. They know that they're going to throw Fesh up there early game. I really think that pressure on Seb to be able to team up with Pac-Man and stop that duo from taking off.
Well, Abyss stopped the bleeding, but they can't stop the deaths coming out there. Tainted Minds pick up game number 2. For now, let's break down that series a little bit more as we throw it back to the analyst desk.
Thanks very much, guys. The series is now tied up 1-1, and I'm joined here by Mendrix and Tegan. I want to start by asking you guys about TM fighting back. It's just Pabu all over the show.
He's just, I think he heard us. I think he heard me deriding the Renekton maybe and decided, you know what, screw you. I'm just going to go off again. And that's what he did. And it was incredible.
Yeah, and Pac-Man did do a better job actually holding him off initially, but then because he got that extra help from his jungler afterwards, he was able to pop off and just completely take control again. So immediately they put some resources in and it ended up working.
Yeah, and I was even thinking, why did he flash for the first blood? It's kind of a waste. Fesh would have got it. And we can see why. He just wanted to go nuts. He wanted to keep snowballing.
I know, yeah.
They burn Pac-Man's flash. What do? Just kill him again. Just kill him again.
So let's take a look at this draft, shall we? The Swain seems like a off-meta pick, but obviously something that's very popular. But when you're that's very comfortable. When you're going into, I guess, what TM are playing, you saw the coach as well saying, look, we just don't want to get dragged down into solo queue. Tegan, what do you make of this draft?
Well, that didn't work. that really didn't work. Ban Renekton at this point. That's all I can say because it's a huge issue. Swain is a pocket pick for them. They've played it a lot. He's a really good Swain, but it's not working. So they need to deal with a Renekton and deal with not breaking down to solo queue like that instead of just trying to get more comfortable picks. Yeah,
it just really comes to Pac-Man sort of stepping up a little bit, understanding that Pabu is amazing on the specific champion. So it is a lot of work that they really need to deal with. Perhaps just ban it out like you said. But then the other thing you need to worry about is Pabu was amazing on Alawi. So, and that's another comfort pick that becomes available to him.
Yeah, so just ban out the Renekton, but just bring in the Alawi. Let's make it happen. Game 3. Picking it. All right, let's take a look at this first replay, which is a turret fight, Mendrix.
That's right. So the first one we're looking at is specifically Pabu showing what he's able to do. So this particular turret dive that happens here, as you can see, you got Pabu coming in from the left there. He was actually dragging two forms of resources. He actually had Pac-Man and Seb unable to get onto him. And because he was sitting there in the jungle and they had to go, okay, let's deal with this Renekton on the side, Ted and Muns are like, fantastic. Let's just dive raid, get the turret, and everything's fine and dandy.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is the Varus ulti lands. Anytime a Varus ulti lands, that person's dead. There's nothing he can do. So as soon as that lands, Abyss just think, let's cut our losses, let's bail, let's just try and regroup instead of trying to keep fighting a lost fight.
Well, this is competitive League of Legends, so it would not be an OPL game without some sort of dodgy Baron call. Mendrix, talk us through this Baron throw.
Well, this isn't a Baron throw specifically. I mean, it's sort of like it's a good call forced by TM. This is what happens with it. And what's good about it is that Abyss are like, all right, we just used a TP. We need to make something happen. Praetor is going to get the bot lane. As you can see, he's making his way back up. But it's so hard because that Varus ultimate is back up. And they're able to take the win off it, get the Baron with the steal as well. And what I really want to discuss here, the main point is that Praetor was putting out so much pressure, it forced Abyss to make a bad decision. And it was really, that was the case. Abyss had no choice afterwards, after they used a TP to make or stop the Baron from happening, and then to sort of turn onto that Baron, because Praetor would have just sat in the base, took everything, and they would have had nothing in return.
And on top of that, it was a bad call, and on top of that, Fesh steals the Baron. That's game over in my eyes. You have 2 inhibs down. Now the enemy has Baron. What do you do to defend that? They have Elder Dragon pressure. They can 1-3-1 with Baron. There's nothing you can do. So even though it was a bad call, it was just exacapexacerbated by not getting what they were trying to get.
Yeah, so if you're going to make a dodgy Baron call, you might as well just
At
get
least
the
get
actual
it.
Baron.
Yeah,
Come
at
on,
least
guys.
get
Well, that's our advice to the pros. We are done with Game 2 now. The series is tied up 1-1. We're back with Game 3 and the decider right after this.